I think it's very important to clarify this. This is the spirit in which the heritage site has been working, and this is the spirit in which it is continuing. And our hope very much is that the UNESCO agree to the request to actually send a assessment panel, because I think we are going through a very transformational period with the Penang Transport Master Plan, and it must be assessed from the heritage point of view. And heritage in Penang is just not the Georgetown World Heritage area. It is also the areas that are adjoining. It are also all the other areas in Penang that might be impacted. And UNESCO doesn't think purely in terms of the site. It thinks of the adjacent places. It also thinks of the larger values. So thus, the government, the people have a spirit of heritage thinking of all over the place. We have many other heritage buildings that are outside. We must have that spirit, and that's very important. That's why anything that impacts on it, whether it's by helicopter or by structures or by human cultures, will be impacted. And to share with you some of the points that we have made to clear the statements that are being made, I'll ask Salman Hu, the Vice President of the Penang Heritage Trust, to read to you a number of statements that we are making to clarify the particular issue. Salman.
Okay, good morning to all of you. I'm going to read this media statement by Penang Forum. So it is actually prepared collectively by Penang Forum. So don't quote me as Pu Salma Penang Heritage Trust, okay? And then Ms. Jiang is the president of the Penang Heritage Trust. She will translate to Chinese. Okay. Penang Forum is shocked at the vitriol and headline-grabbing rhetoric targeted against us over the letter to UNESCO, which requested the world body for an advisory mission and impact assessment on the proposed Penang Transport Master Plan (PTMP) project along the boundary of the George Town World Heritage Sites buffer zone. The attacks against the Penang Forum and Dr. Lim Mahui in particular have helped to distract and divert attention from a highly critical issue confronting our UNESCO-listed city. That is the impact of the PTMP project, which features a major LRT and monorail transport hub at Sia Boey. So it diverts from the impact that the PTMP would have on Georgetown's heritage.
我再重复，我现在翻译的呢是槟城论坛联合的文稿，不是我们个人的，因为我们这槟城论坛是10多个非政府组织，我们是联合一起发文稿。面对连日2元污蔑，并被扣上背后插刀、卖国贼等莫须有的罪状，槟城论坛感到震惊。事情的导因是槟城论坛续函给联合国教科文组织，就是 UNESCO， 邀请他们针对建议设立在乔治市世界文化遗产缓冲区的边界的滨州交通大蓝图计划，成立一个咨询代表团和做个影响评估报告。原来应该去关注一个 UNESCO 底下适宜城市极其关键的议题，那就是滨州交通大蓝图计划的乔治市世界遗产地位的影响。然而，之前对槟城论坛和林马佩博士的个人踪迹已成功转移大家的视线。所谓该探讨的影响，就是设立一个设立在社尾的主要的轻快点和单轨火车总站枢纽的计划。
Okay. Are there any requests for it to be read out in Malay? Dalam bahasa, kalau ada siapa yang boleh ya? Okay. Penang Forum gempar kerana fitnah dan tajuk berita yang ditujukan terhadapnya mengenai surat kepada UNESCO yang memohon badan antarabangsa itu menghantar misi penasihat dan penilaian impak atau kesan-kesan yang mungkin timbul daripada projek Plan Induk Pengangkutan PIP di sepanjang sepadan zon buffer atau zon penyangga tapak warisan dunia Georgetown. Serangan terhadap Penang Forum dan Dr. Lim Mahui telah memesongkan perhatian daripada isu penting yang dihadapi oleh tapak UNESCO. iaitu impak yang akan terjadi ke atas warisan George Town lantaran projek PIP yang menampilkan hak pengangkutan LRT dan monorail di Sia Boey atau Terusan Perangin. Then in English, we are extremely concerned that the construction of LRT and monorail stations in a tertiary zone bordering the buffer zone of the UNESCO-listed George Town World Heritage Site (GTWHS) will pose a risk to its outstanding universal value (OUV). The Chief Minister said the construction is not in the GWTHS and hence should not pose any risk. The General Manager of GTWHI, Georgetown World Heritage Incorporated, the agency entrusted to protect the World Heritage Site, holds a similar opinion. If they are so confident, then why are they so upset about Penang Forum writing to UNESCO asking for a mission to determine the above? They should welcome it and let it be evaluated that there is no wrong.
我们极其关注轻快铁和单轨火车的总站枢纽的建设，特别是目前建议建设在世界遗产缓冲区边界的公交系统，将有可能威胁到有关接触世界普世价值的地位。汀州首长发表声明说，有关建设不在世界遗产区内，因此不会造成任何的风险。与此同时，乔治市市一机构的总经理亦认为如此。既然他们都那么自信，为何他们还要对槟城论坛去函要求一个咨询代表团感到懊恼呢？反之，他们更应该欢迎让 UNESCO 评估到底那个公交基建计划对事宜有没有影响。
Kami sangat khawatir bahawa pembinaan sistem LRT dan monorail zon ketiga, iaitu zon yang berdampingan dengan buffer zone di tapak warisan dunia George Town atau TWVGT yang diiktiraf oleh UNESCO akan mendatangkan risiko kepada nilai-nilai sejagat yang menonjol ataupun nilai-nilai sejagat yang istimewa. Tapi kita pendekkan kepada NSM. Ketua Menteri telah menyatakan bahawa pembinaan tersebut tidak terletak di tapak warisan dunia George Town dan tidak akan mendatangkan sebarang ancaman. Pengurus besar George Town World Heritage Incorporated atau GTWHI, agensi yang diamanahkan untuk melindungi tapak warisan dunia, mempunyai pendapat yang sama. Kalau mereka memang yakin, mengapa mereka begitu tersinggung apabila Penang Forum menulis kepada UNESCO meminta misi atau pasukan untuk menentukan hal tersebut? Mereka sepatutnya mengalu-alukan misi itu untuk membuat penilaian dan memastikan bahawa tidak ada pelanggaran ketetapan ataupun peraturan. What do UNESCO's own guidelines say about such a situation? In paragraph 112 of UNESCO World Heritage Committee's operational guidelines for the implementation of the World Heritage Convention, it is stated, effective management involves actions to protect, conserve, and present the nominated property. An integrated approach to planning and management is essential. This approach goes beyond the property to include any buffer zone or zones, as well as the broader setting. This means that the management of a site's broader setting is related to its role in supporting the outstanding universal value. The proposed projects in Sia Boey by the state could impact the broader setting and its role in supporting the OUV and hence risk its OUV status.
有关这情况 ，UNESCO 的指南怎么说呢？那我们手头上有的是联合国在2015年最新的指南，因为他们在2015年有改了一些指南，好，这个是2015年的。然后 UNESCO 这个指南中的第112条说，有效的管理、牵涉、保护、保留和表扬该资产，进行初步计划和管理方案时。整体性的思维是非常重要的，整体性。 这不只牵涉到该遗产，该资产，还包括需要考虑到缓冲区，以及更为广泛不仅对该资产的影响，就是缓冲区的边界线的附近也是影响到。这条文说明管理这些广泛区，就是我们叫 border setting 广泛区不仅的角色，而是支援该资产的结束普世价值。设委就落在这个广泛区，就是 border setting， 所以州政府在设委的任何发展项目是很可能造成对乔治市文化遗产的普世价值有影响，跟它的适宜的地位。
Apa kata garis panduan UNESCO tentang keadaan seperti ini? Dalam paragraf 112 garis panduan operasi jawatan kuasa warisan dunia untuk pelaksanaan Konvensyen Warisan Dunia dinyatakan pengurusan yang berkesan melibatkan tindakan untuk melindung, memelihara dan mengemukakan hartanah yang dicalon. Pendekatan yang berintegrasi kepada perancangan dan pengurusan adalah penting. Pendekatan ini menjangkau hartanah tersebut untuk merangkumi zon buffer termasuk lingkungan persekitaran. So border setting is here lingkungan persekitaran. Ini bermaksud bahawa pengurusan lingkungan persekitaran tapak ini terkait dengan peranannya dalam mendukung NSN. Projek yang diusulkan di Sia Boey oleh kerajaan negeri boleh meninggalkan impak kepada lingkungan persekitaran dan peranannya dalam mendukung NSN dan maka mendatangkan risiko kepada status NSN. In English, GTWHI, as the official protector of the OUV of Georgetown, should be the first to inform UNESCO of this project, as is made clear by clause 172 of the operational guidelines. The World Heritage Committee invites the state parties to the convention to inform the committee through the Secretariat of their intention to undertake or to authorize in an area protected under the convention major restorations or new constructions which may affect the outstanding universal value of the property. Notice should be given as soon as possible. For instance, before drafting basic documents for specific projects, and before making any decisions that will be difficult to reverse, so that the committee may assist in seeking appropriate solutions to ensure that the outstanding universal value of the property is fully preserved. GTWHI should explain if it has taken any proactive steps to contact and discuss with UNESCO or even Jabatan Warisan Negara JWN on this project.
那么适宜机构既然是州政府设立为乔治市适宜普世价值的保护机构，应当带头向 UNESCO 呈报这项计划，正如以下172条文的自行指南的要求。适宜委员会邀请所有公约的官方成员向秘书处呈报所有可能影响适宜普世价值的地位和保护或新计划，需要提早通知例如在该项计划在进行初步计划之前，以便向适宜委员会可以协助并建议如何确保适宜文化遗产的普世价值得到完整的保留。因为如果计划已经定案，就会出现难以扭转定案的局面，而且会涉及赔偿。就以上指南，适宜机构应该说明它是否已经采取积极的行动，与 UNESCO 或国家遗产局联络上述，并讨论这项设委的计划。
GTWHI sebagai pelindung resmi nilai sejagat yang menonjol George Town seharusnya terlebih dahulu memaklumkan UNESCO tentang projek ini, seperti yang dijelaskan oleh ayat 172 dalam garis panduan operasi. Jawatan Kuasa Warisan Dunia mengajak pihak negara kepada konvensyen untuk memaklumkan jawatan kuasa melalui urus setia mengenai niat mereka untuk menjalankan atau memberi kelulusan kepada dalam kawasan yang dilindungi oleh konvensyen pemeliharaan secara besar-besaran atau pembinaan baru yang boleh menjejaskan nilai sejagat yang menonjol hartanah itu. pemberitahuan mestilah dikeluarkan secepat mungkin. Misalnya, sebelum dokumen yang asas didraftkan untuk projek-projek tertentu dan sebelum membuat apa-apa keputusan yang mungkin susah untuk dibalikkan semula atau dikembalikan kepada asal. That means irreversible decisions. Supaya jawatan kuasa dapat menolong mencari penyelesaian ataupun solusi yang sesuai untuk memastikan nilai sejagat yang menonjol hartanah itu dipelihara sepenuhnya. GTWHI patut menerangkan kalau ia telah mengambil langkah-langkah proaktif untuk menghubungi dan mengadakan diskusi dengan UNESCO ataupun Jabatan Warisan Negara mengenai projek ini. Doubts have been cast on whether Penang Forum is justified to write a letter to UNESCO requesting for an advisory mission and an independent heritage impact study. For the record, we note that UNESCO has put up a notice on its website explicitly stating that individuals and NGOs can bring up serious threats in their sites to UNESCO's attention. It's on the website, so anybody can look at it. The state parties to the convention should inform the committee as soon as possible about threats to their sites. On the other hand, private individuals, non-governmental organizations or other groups may also draw the committee's attention to existing threats. It further urges people to directly inform UNESCO's World Heritage Committee about threats to the sites, and it lists contact details of the World Heritage Committee's Secretariat for this purpose. In fact, UNESCO has in the past come to George Town on other problems, such as on swiftlet reading and on the 4 planned building projects that exceeded height restrictions in the heritage zones.
政府当局和大众可以质疑槟城论坛致函给 UNESCO， 要求他遣派专家来进行独立的评估，来给咨询和进行独立的评估报告是否有充足理由。作为记录 ，UNESCO 在其网站上已经公布如下，也清楚说明了任何人或非政府组织可以向其委员会提报关于可能违纪该区事宜的地位以便的任何项目，以便可以得到该委员会的关注。然后这上面写的工业官方机构当局长向委员会呈报违纪事宜的计划。然而，任何个人身份或非政府组织或任何机构，也可以向委员会提报，以便得到关注。或更进一步，督促人民直接向该委员会提报，并列出有关的联络资料。事实上，过去已有槟城市民联络没有，其实过去 UNESCO 也关于其他事情、其他的问题来到槟城给予咨询跟提供那个古迹评估报告，比如乔治市区内的养厌恶的课题跟4个在古迹区高度过高发展计划的课题。
Keraguan telah dilemparkan terhadap Penang Forum sama ada ia memang mempunyai justifikasi menulis surat kepada UNESCO, memohon misi penasihat dan kajian penilaian impak yang bebas atau independen. Kami melihat bahawa UNESCO telah mengeluarkan pemberitahuan di laman webnya menegaskan bahawa individu dan NGO boleh mengutarakan ancaman gawat dalam tapak-tapak masing-masing kepada perhatian UNESCO. Pihak-pihak negara atau state parties kepada convention patut memberitahu jawatankuasa secepat mungkin tentang ancaman kepada tapak mereka. Sebaliknya, individu-individu swasta, badan bukan kerajaan dan lain kumpulan dapat membawa perhatian jawatankuasa kepada ancaman yang sedia ada. Lagipun, ia mendesak orang ramai untuk memberitahu jawatankuasa warisan dunia UNESCO tentang ancaman kepada tapak-tapak dan ia menyenaraikan butir-butir kontak urus setia Jabatan Warisan Dunia untuk tujuan ini. Pada hakikatnya, beberapa warga Pulau Pinang telah menghubungi UNESCO mengenai lain-lain masalah sebelum ini. seperti pembiakan burung walit di George Town dan rancangan 4 bangunan tinggi yang melampaui batas ketinggian di zon warisan. Okay, 6. UNESCO is not an enforcement body like the police. Its main role is to protect the universal value heritage sites and render assistance when there is a threat or potential threat to a heritage site. What if Penang Forum had not written to UNESCO? In that case, if the proposed project has absolutely no impact on Georgetown's OUV, there are no negative consequences. But if there are consequences, Georgetown would risk losing its heritage status. Penang Forum is therefore compelled to act to ensure the latter situation is avoided from the outset.
联合国不是警察或者是执法单位，它的角色呢是保护适宜的普世价值和面对危机时的情况给予协助跟建议。所以这个大家不要误解。如果槟城论坛没有支函给 UNESCO， 那么什么事情会发生呢？在那情况之下，如果该计划不会造成任何危机事宜的影响，就没有任何负面的结果。但是如果真的有危机事宜的普世价值的影响之后，我们就会真的失去事宜的地位。所以槟城论坛人士义不容辞，被逼采取行动，为的是要依照指南，在最早的时机给 UNESCO 向 UNESCO 求援，确保避免以上任何发生的危机跟后果。在没有通知 UNESCO 情况之下，任由演变下去，可能难以收拾，可能政府需要赔偿。就是说在project 在进行之中。
UNESCO bukan badan penguat kuasa seperti polis. Peranannya yang utama ialah untuk melindungi nilai sejagat tapak warisan dan memberi pertolongan bila ada ancaman atau potensi ancaman kepada tapak warisan. Bagaimana jikalau Penang Forum tidak menulis ke UNESCO? Kalau projek yang diajukan tidak ada impak kepada nilai sejagat yang menonjol George Town, jadi tidak ada akibat negatif. Akan tetapi, kalau ada akibat negatif, George Town mungkin hilang status warisannya. Maka Penang Forum didorong mengambil tindakan supaya memastikan senario yang kedua dicegah dari permulaannya. 7. What is of immense concern is what would happen if the state has already signed and committed with SRS Consortium to build the transport hub and is then faced with a scenario where UNESCO finds out that the project endangers the World Heritage Site. The state would then, in trying to save the World Heritage status, have to compensate SRS for breach of contract. This is similar to the case with the Penang Island Municipal Council and PPP having to compensate RM 20 million to Bauset Holdings Berhad, that is in 2009, for requiring them to lower the building height to 18 meters after approval was given for a taller building in the World Heritage Site. That is why Penang Forum felt duty-bound to invite UNESCO to undertake the inspection and heritage assessment before the state signs and commits itself to a project that could threaten its heritage status.
如果州政府和 SRS 签了在设尾新建交通枢纽计划的合约，那后来才发现和 UNESCO 或者是 UNESCO 发现这个计划将会危害事宜的地位，那后果是什么呢？为了要维护事宜，州政府就必须在毁业的情况下向 SRS 赔偿损失。正如几年前，冰岛市政厅就是 MBBB 必须赔偿 Bauset 2000万的损失，因为他那个项目是通过了的，市政厅批准，然后因为要求他们在古迹区中已经被批准的高楼计划高度降到18年，这就是为什么槟城论坛必须在没有签下可能违纪事宜的合约 的合约之前，致函给 UNESCO， 向他们邀请来做国际影响评估报告。
Apa yang menjadi kebimbangan yang dahsyat ialah apakah terjadi kalau kerajaan negeri telah pun menandatangani dan memberi komitmen kepada SRS Consortium untuk membina hak pengangkutan dan kemudian dihadapi oleh senario di mana UNESCO menemukan bahawa projek itu akan membahayakan tapak warisan dunia. Kerajaan negeri dalam senario tersebut demi menyelamatkan status tapak warisan dunia terpaksa memberi pampasan kepada SRS kerana pelanggaran kontrak. Ini boleh dibanding dengan kes Majlis Perbandaran Pulau Pinang MPVP dalam 2009 yang terpaksa memberi pampasan 20 juta ringgit kepada Balsted Holdings Berhad kerana memerlukan mereka menurunkan ketinggian bangunan kepada 18 meter selepas memberi kelulusan untuk bangunan yang lebih tinggi di tapak warisan dunia. Kerana itulah Penang Forum merasa bertanggungjawab mengundang UNESCO untuk menjalankan pemeriksaan dan penilaian impak sebelum kerajaan negeri menandatangani dan memberi komitmen kepada projek yang mungkin membawa ancaman kepada status warisan. Okay, number 8. For the way forward, an initial meeting was organized by Jabatan Warisan Negara with Dr. Lima Hui, Penang Heritage Trust, GTWHI, Jabatan Perancang Bandar dan Desa Negeri, and Penang Development Corporation to discuss the matter. Unfortunately, GTWHI and the state have now blown this issue out of proportion and sidetracked the progress. Penang Forum calls on the state, its agencies and politicians to cease all further unjustifiable and uncalled for attacks on Penang Forum and work together with Jabatan Warisan, UNESCO and civil society in solving this issue. Penang Forum is committed to rising above vicious rhetoric and stay focused on our pursuit of transparency, good governance and civil society engagement through reason and facts.
其实，国家遗产局就是 JWN 已经就槟城论坛的这封信已经安排初步的会议，邀请了林访会博士、GTWHI 城乡发展局跟滨州发展机构来讨论此事。很可惜的是 ，GTWHI 和州政府已经就此事件将之闹得满城风雨，拐离了事件的重点和妨碍了有助于解决方案的进展。滨州论坛恳请州政府所有有关部门和政客停止所有拐离事件的言论，与和莫须有罪名的指控加注于槟城论坛身上，让我们就是政府和市民组织一起协心努力来解决这问题。槟城论坛委身以超越一切恶毒的言论，以理性就问题焦点所在就事论事，以其建造和落实公布事实、良好治理和具备诚意与市民交流的政治文化。
Untuk melangkah ke depan, satu mesyuarat awal telah dikelolakan oleh Jabatan Warisan Negara dengan Dr. Lima Hui, Persatuan Warisan Pulau Pinang, GTWHI, Jabatan Perancangan Bandar dan Desa Negeri dan Penang Development Corporation untuk membahas perkara ini. Malangnya, GTWHI dan Kerajaan Negeri telah menggembar-gemborkan isu itu. Dan memesongkan kemajuannya. Penang Forum menyeru kerajaan negeri, agensi-agensi berkenaan dan ahli-ahli politik supaya berhenti serangan yang tidak munasabah terhadap Penang Forum dan bekerjasama dengan Jabatan Warisan, UNESCO dan masyarakat madani untuk menyelesaikan isu ini. Penang Forum berazam supaya tidak mempedulikan fitnah ini dan menumpu sepenuh perhatiannya kepada memastikan transparansi pemerintahan yang bagus dan keterlibatan masyarakat madani dengan logik dan fakta. Terima kasih.
Thank Thank you so much, Salma. Thank you so much. As you know, Salma is the Vice President of the Penang Heritage Trust, and Geksim is the President of the Penang Heritage Trust. Dr. Lim Mai Hui is a member of the Penang Forum, and I'm a trustee of the Penang Heritage Trust. Just as you know, that we come from different places, and also Sahabat Alam Malaysia. I represent Sahabat Alam Malaysia. So we have outlined, and I think the message is, let's work together, let's move forward, let us get an independent assessment of the most critical UN organization to help us keep our heritage in a way that is so important for the outstanding universal values that we so much want to be proud of here. So thank you very much. If there are any burning questions, you can either ask them subsequently or email. But I think we have taken up quite a lot of your time. If you have something, yes.
29 bulan Julai. Kami ada perbincangan yang bagus dan ada beberapa poin kita boleh melangkah ke depan.
Can I speak in English? Actually, according to the feedback from Jabatan Resmi Negara, they are looking at drafting the guidelines for the tertiary zone. That means the broader setting, which is according to the Unesco guideline 2015.
For the tertiary zone guidelines, new guidelines. Yes.
Sudah menutup.
We look forward to it. Yes. Yes.
I think my question is personally to Dr. Maui, you already conducted the look from funding and all these, several other people also, they even pay you by calling you backstabber, they say you have access. They brought up the issue of your three positions in the state government. You also say that you have access to everything and still represent your land and this. So is it tenable for you to hold all those positions? Are you considering to resign and protest and show them that you do business?
Let me just highlight one thing. Actually, Nima Hui is going to council, he's representing NGOs. Yeah.
That's true. That's your response. So, but still they
And in the Penang Institute, he is elected by the members to be there also. Yes. But you may want to explain.
And if the next transport council also representing NGOs.
because even with all that, they still do that. Ask for opinion. Then he still go on.
Well, I don't play politics. I rise above politics. And I've never once called the CM a backstabber. I've never said to Chris, rude words, or neither to Zyril or Dr. Ang. So I am quite at a loss as to why they unleash this uncalled for barrage of almost expletives against me. But I think I stand firm on my own principles. I've been called a liar by the CM 8 times, and I've risen above politics to hit back at him. And I continue to serve the people. I don't serve political leaders. The people, want me there, I will serve. I have spoken in the council. I have spoken in the PGC. I have spoken in the board of Penang Institute. Okay? Sometimes they hear, but most of the times they just it falls on deaf ears. And so I feel duty bound to take my message to the people. And if that is treason, so be it. Okay? Thank you.
Dr. Lim, is there any room still for dialogue with you and the state government? The dialogue of the two limbs, perhaps?
I am always open for dialogue. As I said, I have never hit back, and so it is up to them. It is up to them. I mean, whether they want to dialogue. So as far as I'm concerned, I have no, as some Zairil say, I have some hidden motives. I'm not sure what hidden motives he refers to. Right? So I really am lost, as I said. And I have said it before, that the first criterion, most important criterion to be a council member is not so much even your qualifications, or what political parties you come from, but whether you are willing to speak out and risk losing your job. I put that question to all my councillors, whether they are willing to do that. Okay? For me, I've spoken out. If the CM wants to sack me from the council, he can do it. But it has not stopped me from speaking out. So I urge the other councillors to do the same. Right? And in speaking out to try to preserve the heritage status of Penang, I have been falsely accused of trying to destroy it. Nothing can be further from the truth.
I would like to bring the attention to the heading of the letter. We say, I do not know if you all can read English. I think everybody's English better than mine, okay? Request for UNESCO advisory mission and impact assessment of proposed transport master plan in George Town will decide. That means it is a request to UNESCO to come here to provide advisory mission and do a heritage impact assessment. Okay, maybe you all do not know that in any development in Georgetown World Heritage Site and at the border, every single one, for example, like this house want to do renovation, the owner must submit a heritage impact assessment. So it's very common to have heritage impact assessment. So the letter call for UNESCO to come to do an independent heritage impact assessment. So the impact assessment doesn't mean that cannot do anything. If the impact assessment say, there's no harm, fair enough, that means then don't need to argue between the government and NGO, Then if the impact assessment say, maybe minor effect, then we can ask the contractor to do mitigation. But if the impact assessment say, if it is going to affect the status, then you can ask the government and the project tunnel, can you consider to redesign the system? This is something like proactive action to prevent. After the job is being conducted, project being conducted, and then you have to do a lot of modification, there will be a lot of VOs and maybe compensation. It's all good motive. Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
So, the sound group, there is a feeling that the opposition of this request stems from Penang Forum, from the NGO's opposition towards the Penang Transport Master Plan, not to protect the community in the town. Like the address. This request for an assessment, of UNESCO, the feeling is that the NGOs are taking this distress because they are opposing the Penang Transport Master Plan and not wanting to protect Georgetown.
That could not be further from the truth, because when you are dealing, with a major mega transport plan like this, it has to be assessed from various sources because it is impacting on the World Heritage Site. So this is one particular dimension of the larger picture, and the Penang Forum is also looking at the larger picture in terms of what needs to be done. But this is, in a way, proactive action because it impacts on an area in which a United Nations agency has a particular interest and has given a special status. And this is why, in respect of this particular aspect, we have gone to the United Nations to request them to make an assessment. Other issues have to be dealt with. Sometimes you have to do environmental impact assessments. You have to do social impact assessments. And in many cases, also the larger heritage of Penang as a beautiful island with beaches and vistas, all those issues are also being looked at now by heritage agencies. And our hope is that these things also will become part of the proactive action that is needed to make sure that Penang continues to have these outstanding universal values and to be that special place that it is. Yes.
Can I just continue to explain this? As I said, the Penang Forum is never against the Master Transport Plan. It's raising only critical questions, whether it's environmental, whether it is social, or whether it is financial and technical. Okay? And Penang Transport Master Plan the idea was initiated by the NGOs, not the state government of Penang. Now, in our meeting of July 29 with the Jabatan Warisan Negara, okay, if you're at a crossroad, the state government has got few options. As was reported in the Star, which was pointed out by Chris Lee, Liverpool, the Council of Liverpool decided that it is more important to have high-rise than to have their OUV status, and therefore they willingly gave it up. And here, the Penang state and the Penang people can make that decision. We are not forcing it on them. That's the first thing. Or they can alternatively do other things, which is, I would presume you have the cake and eat it. That is, you choose more environmentally friendly, visually pleasing, and things and transport system that do not threaten the heritage status. What do I mean by that? And Penang Forum has stated, if you took the trouble to read our BCF, better, cheaper, faster plan, we stated that, okay, if you want to have a transport hub, don't build mega elevated infrastructures. Do it like a tram or use a bus. Okay? And in all over cities like in Strasbourg, in Melbourne, it is very clear that trams go into the heritage areas. Even in 2013, the Chief Minister himself stated that LRT and monorails are not suitable for Penang heritage status. And now he says it is just because it is in the border of Penang heritage status. Okay? But as we have stated, and which I hope the General Manager of GTWHI is very aware, that the 2015 guidelines of the World Heritage Committee states clearly that tertiary zones are also to be protected. And clearly, Sia Boey is a tertiary zone. If you go and build this stuff there, it will be threatened. So I think, the GTWHI should be in the forefront, not Penang Forum. GTWHI and the state should be in the forefront of preserving our heritage status. Thank you.
We talked about this tertiary zone before, but I avoided highlighting it because one study is not that effective. Since last year, they were still being talking about it. So now you review these UNESCO guidelines, the physiology is a broader setting. It is a guideline. The tertiary zone is not set. So if this is the tertiary zone, that is the tertiary zone, it is planning impossible. I'm just speaking on behalf of people that simple are So how you say it was in July 29, you talk about the tertiary zone, when, what?
So that's why you answer the question. This is the guideline issued by World Heritage Convention, and our JWN attended this, and they came back. That's why they're working on the tertiary zone. But in this technical document, say the broader setting, and because of some people say yes, some people say no. To us, to end this argument is to get independent advisory mission from UNESCO, and then they can advise. And if they say, oh, it is beyond the tertiary zone, okay, fair enough, go ahead. Then no argument. Then they say it's going to impact. Okay, can our government maybe change the location or adjust the location? How far? You say how far? Okay, if they say 100 meters, okay, can they adjust beyond 1 meter? That's all. The whole purpose, the whole motive of this letter is to get the professional advice to stop all this. I mean, different opinions. Confusion. Okay. And second thing is, I think I would like to highlight is, Georgetown is due for another assessment in 2018 because the last one is 2012 and then 6 years later is 2018. By the time, if they say we will have to start our project or whatever or something in plan, and the agreement is signed with the contractor, we don't know who is the contractor or whatever, then UNESCO come in and say, they came and look at that assessment and said, sorry, this is against, it's going to threaten your OUV, will it be too late? So that's why we are doing a preventive measure to prevent this thing happen. That's all.
The Chita law is meant to be in the tertiary zone.
No. That one is separate issue. That one is the intention to extend the World Heritage Zone to area to that.
Let's stop. But not spread the gardens, we go over there and then mark it over.
Well, the original plan that was put out was to include all those areas.
That was the original.
Can I make also a very important point which has been made before? I think it's very important for the state not to commit itself and sign anything with the PDP before UNESCO's kind of mission comes here. Because once you sign, then you've got to pay compensation. And the Penang people must be diligent about that. I said, that's why we are inviting them. We are inviting them.
They reply to us as to what they think we have.
The reply is to us, reply, and they haven't replied to say they are aware.
So actually, the whole purpose of asking UNESCO directly because we thought they can save money. Because it costs money for them.
Of course.
So anyway, as I said, the response was like, just less than 2 weeks, and I think go out. We cannot proceed. So we just hope this thing will stop so that we can focus and get mission to come in and do the advice. Okay. I think there are 2 steps for it. The first step is if the advisory panel comes here, they say, don't worry lah, this one is beyond the border. Okay lah, right now. Then they say, if the advisory panel comes and say, maybe we'll something, so then they need to collect a lot of information to do heritage impact assessment, then we do heritage impact assessment. That's all. It's very simple. As I say, all the projects in Georgetown Heritage Site and even the borders at the Buffer currently, they have to submit HI8 report to the PLP panel. I'm sitting in PLP, so I know. Even border also, transfer road, there are a few projects, they submit HI8. Yes.
Council.
Yes.
Across the street.
Yes. I can show you that. Yes. And it is stated in our SAP. The V-star is important also. Yeah, it's stated already. But the one is big.
I had a look at the V-star. Based on V-star management, the skyline behind Kuan Yin Day Temple for a distance of only 4 or 5 kilometers. Behind
the one lives another press conference.
Actually, I just want to point out that it is not just the transport hub. Okay, because it's also the elevated lines. That means you see the monorail line, but once you build elevated transport hub for LRT, that means anything connecting has to be elevated. So you have the elevated monorail line, which is on the border. So you cannot say, on this you can build on this side of the road. You cannot build on that side of the road. You can build on this side of the road because that is the whole thing is the boundary, So that is already very clearly affecting the,
the whole why NGOs come out with the proposal of tram is we are not the tram manufacturer. We are not the tram salesman. It's because of we don't want to be people. People may complain that you all say it's no good. What is your alternative? That's why we came up with alternative. And we are looking at the proposal that there are trams inside Georgetown World Heritage Site. Yeah, in the SRS proposal. So already there's a proposed tram. That's why we are following that, So We are not against we are not against indemnity.
Right?
You just
Yes.
have a summary that basically you're encouraging the state government not to sign any documents yet, pending the heritage impact assessment.
Yes.
What will be the best?
Independent impact
Independent.
assessment by UNESCO. You see, as I said,
This is important because, as I said just now, we are going to be reviewed by UNESCO in 2018. So if the impact assessment has been done, that means there's a document here. Then if somebody came and assess the site again, then somebody, the assessor said, hey, why you built this? Then you can prove, oh, we have done this. And they say no impact.
no, just like do a medical check out with you, no?
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Right? Yeah, you can collect a press statement in all 3 languages. And don't forget to take your handphones back.